Good afternoon, everybody. As you can see, we have a Dodge Ram 99 model right there. Has the 3.9 in it. The engine is gone in this, so we're doing an engine swap on it. Right now I have the radiator draining. It does have a petcock valve on it. It is on the driver's side, and I don't know how well you can see down in there, but right there where my finger is, that's where it is. And you can see I got a little loose, but like I said, we're doing an engine swap on this. Seems like that's what I've been doing a lot lately. Don't know why. I still got like 3 more that I got to do. I'm doing one on that right there soon as well, but that's going to be a different video. It is a Subaru, but I'm just going to be taking some stuff off right now. I'm going to try to pull the radiator and the support right here out as one unit. There is no Freon in this, as AC didn't work before. This is actually my dad's car or truck that he had, so he's just gonna put a new engine in it. Well, not a new, but a used engine, and we do have it in the garage. Excuse the garage, it is a mess at the moment, but there's the used engine that we got for like $400, which was really good deal. And it only has, I think it had 122,000 miles on it. But while we have it here, we're going to be doing a few little things to it. We're probably going to change the oil pan gasket, rear main seal, probably valve cover gaskets, and I'm going to take the intake off also, just because I'm probably going to lift it from the intake area to put it in and give me a little bit more clearance on some stuff. And don't know if we're going to use these manifolds yet or not, or if we're just going to unbolt them from that engine and this engine and then put it in. So haven't figured that part out yet. We're going to see what they look like and see how easy these right here come out. I mean, even if they break the bolts, that'd be fine, because I can get new bolts, which is a good thing to get on these Dodges, is new exhaust manifold bolts. But we're going to go ahead and get to putting this engine in, or getting this engine out. So what I'm going to do is set y'all up, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm going to try to pull this whole radiator support with the radiator and condenser all out as one, and maybe that'll make it a little bit easier on us. But let me get some tools together, and then I'll bring y'all back and we can start pulling stuff off. I will kind of go over what I'm doing as I'm doing it. I'm not going to do like step by step everything you got to do, because you may not do it the same way I do it, because there's a million different ways to pull engines out of cars. I went ahead and took the lines off for the AC, and this up one is just held on with a 13mm. This bottom one, you need a quick disconnect tool. I believe it is the 5/8 size. Yep, it is a 5/8, and you just push it from the bottom. It does have this little clip right here on there, and you can use this little cheap Lyle set right here. I think this set costs like $12 or something at my local O'Reilly's. But now what I'm going to do is go ahead and take this right here off. Should have two 10mm, and you can pull these little quick clips off, and you can move it through over there. And I will take this right here off as well, just so I can get it around there and push it back. And this is just your hood latch, but let me take it off real quick. Also, this is adjustable, so if you want to mark it, you can. I do have the witness marks on here I can go by, so I'm not really worried about that. I think this is a 10 as well. Got it off. I put the bolts back in just so I knew it goes. And there's that little clip hole right there, and then I just took that out, brought it around, and it'll go up inside of here, and I laid it down inside the battery box. I did take the upper radiator hose off as well. Now what I'm going to do is actually take the lower one off. You can either do it right here on the bottom, or you can do it at the engine, whichever one you want. It's fine. It's up to you. And then after I do that, I should just have, I think, 3 bolts, one here, 2 there on either side, and we may even be able to lift this whole section out. Actually, I'm going to pull this condenser out first. That'll just be a little bit easier on me as well. To do this, you should have 2 right there, and I think there's maybe there's a brace, and there's a brace right there as well. So let me grab that and take those off real quick. Actually, it was just those 2 bolts. Just running them back in there just so they will know where they go. I just want to take them out a little bit just so I know something goes there. Now I'm going to take these 2 brace bars off right here, and then I can take this upper radiator support off after I get the lower radiator hose off. So let me go ahead and do those few things real quick, and then I'll bring y'all right back. As you can see, we have the radiator support with the radiator out, and it gives you a whole bunch of room in here to actually do everything you need to. And it does require you to take the fan off to take the radiator out. That's why I did it as a whole assembly like that. You can see I just pulled it out with the cross member, or radiator support upper cross member, and it is just 8 bolts, 3 on each side, 2 here, 1 there, and then 1 down here on each side. So it's 4 per side, and it comes off super easy. It's not heavy or any of that stuff. But what we will do is I'm going to take power steering pump off, lay it to the side so I can eliminate any fluid loss. And next steps that I am going to do is the power steering pump, the breather box, and probably exhaust manifolds, and drain the oil. And we're going to try to get it as far along as we can today. And this does have a 5-speed manual in it, so I don't have to do any torque converter bolts. It's just bell housing bolts, but I haven't decided if I'm going to pull the transmission or not, just because it may make it a little easier to line up the clutch and input shaft on the transmission if I do it outside of the car. So we'll see about that once I get to that point. But like I said, next steps I'm going to do is go ahead and do power steering pump, the breather box, and exhaust manifolds, and then once I get that off, I'll bring y'all back. As you can see, we took a good bit more off. To get some of the wiring and stuff off, you had to take like some of the bracketry off for the alternator and the AC compressor. So to get that off, there are several bolts. There should be 14 millimeters. They go in right here, there, and there was one more somewhere. I think part of it went through the it helped hold it on from the alternator as well. But we took off that, took off the heater hose that went in to the water pump right here, the upper radiator hose. We disconnected this heater hose because it does have a junction or union, whatever you want to call it, right in the middle. And we folded that heater hose over. We took all the connectors off, and took off the brake booster vacuum line. Sorry, I have a hard time thinking. Fuel lines right here, that uses a 3/8 quick connect. There's the vacuum line for the AC and heater blower motor blend doors and stuff like that. Then there was 4 bolts that held the power steering pump on, and it was one's here, these 2, and then this long one right here on top. The one closest to the water pump on the left side, when you're looking at it, has a nut on it that holds 2 ground wires. This is one, and the other one was the main battery ground, which is right there, while the other ground wire went over to one of the bracket bolts over through the bracket and all that stuff right there attached on one of the bolts on there. Like I said, we got a good bit of this stuff off, and pretty much the only wiring we have left is the starter wiring, and I'm probably going to leave that on because I'm just going to take it off here, do it from the box, the fuse box, and then we'll take it out. Then I took the bolts out of the exhaust manifolds. Those are 13 millimeters. You're going to need a deep socket for 2 of them on the driver's side. I did have 2 bolts break on me, which is not a big deal. I can just switch it over from the old engine. Well, actually no, the old engine has the manifold still on it, so I can use those bolts on the ones that broke, but I'm probably just going to go ahead and get all new ones just to be safe with that. I'm trying to think anything else I did. Oh yeah, one thing, let me see if I can find it. The oil pressure connector right here has a safety tab on it. Mine was facing the hardest way possible, and it took me a minute to get that out, but it does have the little red safety clip in it. I'm trying to think of anything else I did. I don't think there is. So my next step to do is I'm going to remove the motor mount bolts, which on this one you don't have to remove it completely because they do have slots cut into the mounts on the frame itself where they're welded on, so you can just loosen this up and it should lift up enough to clear it, which you want to lift it up enough anyway to clear it to get the bottom of the mount out. So if you just loosen it up, you can lift it up all the way and clear it without taking the bolts out completely, because they are a little difficult if you didn't take out the front support like I did, but I can get my hand right here on the back of the nut pretty easy. And I think the next step is to pretty much take those out and the transmission bolts, and this thing should be ready to come out, but I will drain the oil before I do it too. But like I said, I just got a couple little things to do real quick and should about be ready to pull out of here. Got the intake off, and as you can see, hold on, let me shine a light on there for you. Hold on 1 second. As you can see, look at all that right there. This engine was disgusting, and it's not a pretty sight. And that's putting it nicely. But we do have it have the intake off. Pretty much next thing I need to do, I'm going to probably leave the transmission in, and hopefully I can get it lined up fairly easy whenever I get to putting the engine in with the transmission still in the truck. But all I got left to do is bell housing bolts, and I got this motor mount bolt ready too. The nut is off the back of it, and that's should be ready to pull out. The intake, here are the bolts for that. There are, I think there's 10 of them. I think there's 5 per each side, and then the distributor has one 13 millimeter bolt, and these are 13s as well, but they just go down. Let me pull this off. But they just kind of go down and feed in straight down. But that's it right there. But I'm just going to pull these bell housing bolts out, and then my next step will be trying to lift this up and out of here. So here she is. We got her out, and it wasn't really all that hard. The hardest thing to do is lift it over the actual welded in mounts on the body. To clear that and the bumper, you probably have to lift it up about a foot, foot and a half, somewhere around there, just to clear everything. Also, we forgot to take the shield off on the transmission on the bottom, and my flywheel's hitting that, so I took it off. The only thing that's holding it on is the 2 starter bolts, 3 more 14 millimeter bolts, and 2 11 millimeter bolts on the passenger side, and then it comes right off. And then the flywheel will come forward so you can lift it out. That was the biggest issue that I forgot to do. But other than that, she didn't give me any real issues. So this is all the stuff inside. As you can see, it is disgusting in there, and if that didn't kill it, it was going to, just because that's all dried up oil, carbon, and all the nasty stuff in there. But the flywheel's got some wear on it. As you can see, the fingers right here, they're starting to get some wear. They got like a little ridge on them. I'll see if my dad wants to replace that. For anybody who's wondering, this is the crank sensor on these. And then there's a ground wire on the passenger and driver side head. But I'm probably going to end the video here. If you can got enough confidence and knowledge to pull it out, I feel like you can put it back in with no real issue. Just remember, if you do have a manual, you're going to have to get a lineup tool to go inside of here so you can get the line up with the splines on the input shaft on the transmission. So that's one reason I'm going to suggest a clutch as well on this. And we're going to do a rear main seal, oil pan gasket, valve cover gaskets, and intake manifold gasket on the new engine just to be safe. And we're probably even going to do a new water pump, and I know a thermostat, and oil change. But like I said, this is going to be it for this video. If I have any issues installing it, I will make a video of that also, just to show what could go wrong and what is some obstacles you'll have to overcome. But if everything goes back smoothly and there's nothing real major that I think needs to be addressed, I won't do a video. But if y'all have any comments or concerns or questions or any of that stuff, leave them in the comment section below. I'll get to them as soon as I can. And until next time, y'all have a great day.